Extremely sorry for the listeners. Actually, there was a technical problem, net issues or something arose. That is why we have just come across with a little disruption in the live discussion. So I extremely sorry for that one. I invite all the students to come and join the same live discussion. So now we are going for the heights of harmony. The heights of harmony, that is really taking about or propagating the idea of a universal brotherhood. Universal brotherhood. So each and every individual has to co-live with others, and try to make everyone in a very harmonious situation. So listen, first segment is a melting wall. First segment is a melting wall in the second unit by Robert Frost. Remember that? Robert Frost is not actually a nature poet, but he uses natural scenes and natural, that means rustic characters, as a backdrop, or the nature as a backdrop he uses in his poems. That is melting wall. So Robert Frost melting wall, remember that the first unit things is mainly the 4 segments of focus area things. Okay, but melting wall is not a focus area poem, but remember that you have it to, that means you have it to be prepared. Sometimes there may be an easy question and there you can just attempt the question based on that one. So divide, that means melting wall is mainly talking about construction of a physical wall. Construction of a physical wall between the poet, that means Robert Frost, and his neighbor, a French Canadian. That is Napoleon Guithe. So they were trying to construct a wall which is a ritual in every spring. Constructing a wall between the poet's property and his neighbor, a French Canadian, Napoleon Guithe's property, is a ritual every spring. And also think about, there is a refrain. Refrain means repeated lines in the poem. Repeated lines in the poem. Repeated lines in the poem. Something there is that doesn't love a war. The poem begins with, the another stanza also is starting with, something there is that doesn't love a war. This is repeated 2 times. That is what we call it as a refrain. Then another one refrain is also there. Good fences make good neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors. You see, this is the age-old custom. This is the age-old custom of the neighbor. The neighbor says that there is the necessity of a wall between their two properties. There is a necessity of wall between two properties. That means the poet's property and also poet's neighbor Githes, Napoleon Githes. So actually this is a repetitive work. It is a repetitive work and it is a fruitless work. Every year it is repeated. Mending the wall, repairing the wall is repeated every year. Okay. Is repeated every year. And also it is actually a futile, useless. There is no use at all because there are no animals encroaching any other's property, and also here we are coming to know about please use it screen mirroring user, and there are many things there. You listen, it is a repetitive and mundane work, worldly work, and it is a useless work. It is a useless, so mending wall. That is the first segment of Heights of Harmony. The mending wall, that is the first segment of the second unit, Heights of Harmony. So listen here, it is what we are. Then a critical appreciation may be asked about and what is the central idea or central metaphor in the poem. So what is the central metaphor in the poem? What is the central metaphor in the poem? The wall itself is the central metaphor in the poem. The wall itself is the central metaphor or central image or symbol in the poem. That is what here we come to know about. So, second unit, Heights of Harmony. Second unit, Heights of Harmony. Remember, mending wall is not really a focus area thing, but you can expect some questions. If you are quite well with this one, Heights of Harmony, if you are quite well with this one, you can just attempt that one, and sometimes you may be well easy with that one. You may score high grades and everything. So that is a mending wall, and central critical appreciation, you can just expect that one. Mending Wall, Robert Frost. It was published in 1914 as the third entry in Frost's second book of poems, North of Boston. North of Boston. North of Boston. That is all. North of Boston. The poem is set in rural New England. That means village, rural New England, where Frost lived at the time, and it takes its spirit and impetus from the rhythms and rituals of life. The poem describes how the speaker and a neighbor meet to rebuild a stone wall between their properties. So it is a ritual repeated every spring. Then expected questions. And throughout the poem, certain questions are raised during the course of the poem. Is there any purpose of borders between people and the value of human life? And I told you there are refrains. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. Good fences make good neighbors. Then assonance is also is there. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in the same line as E. When you just go through the line of the poem, there is a E in the line. To please the yelping dogs. To please the yelping dogs. Wall is the central metaphor in the poem, and personification, building walls separating people from each other. To each thy boulders that have fallen to each, and some are lows and some are nearly balls. We cannot hear for a particular rhyme scheme because the poem was written in a blank verse, and you can expect a profile of Robert Frost and also the critical appreciation of the poem. Next we will pass on to the another segment of second unit, Heights of Harmony, is Amigo Brothers by Pierre Thomas. Amigo Brothers by Pierre Thomas. Amigo Brothers by Pierre Thomas. By Pierre Thomas. Thomas. This is also non-focus area, but know something about that. You can expect a question. The story follows two best friends. One is Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas. Both are 17 years old. From a poor New York City neighborhood, as they prepare to compete against each other in their shared passion, that is boxing. Let us see what are the important questions we can expect from. Prepare a script of announcement for one event of an athletic meet. Then newspaper report of the contest between Amigo brothers. So when you prepare a newspaper report, please try to keep these things in your mind. Venue. Where is this event taking place? So we know that it is taking place in Tompkins Square Park. Time. When is the time? It's afternoon. Then contestants, Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas. And also another important thing, park begins to fill up even earlier. That means all the spectators were gathered earlier. Fighters enter. That means contestants enter with the more pompous. And the crowd explodes with the roar. Okay. Then in that story itself, homonyms. Homonyms. So let us see homonyms. Trunk. Trunk can be used in two different situations with the two different meanings. Adult elephants commonly punish young elephants with a slap from their trunk. Here, trunk is the part of the body of an elephant. But look at another. The magician climbed into a trunk means a box. Here, trunk is not the part of an animal, but here trunk is actually a box. But when it was opened a moment later, he had disappeared. Okay. Then personal description you can expect from this story. Personal description of Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas. Then profile of Pierre Thomas also. Please just to give a little concentration on the profile writing of Pierre Thomas. Maybe sometimes you can expect this question. Then we will pass on to another segment, that is The Hour of Truth by Percival White. The Hour of Truth by Percival White. The Hour of Truth Percival White. Percival White. Hour of Truth by Percival White. Let us see. The characters, please try to notify the characters. Robert Baldwin and his wife Martha, his son John, and his daughter Evie, then Mr. Marshall, a maid. It is an one-act play. And remember, honesty is rewarded. That is the moral of this one-act play. So, the Hour of Truth is an intense psychological study on the correcting influence of money on people. The plot of this play analyzes the bad trait, greed, from different points of view. The play shows how easily people forget their morals and values before fortune. Let us see what are the expected questions from this one. What are the expected questions from this one-act play? Character sketch of Baldwin. Let us see what are the elements we will include in the character sketch of Robert Baldwin. You can describe the appearance of Robert Baldwin and write. What are the personal qualities of Robert Baldwin? What are the personal traits? Then development of the character Robert Baldwin through different occasions and incidents and events. Attitude towards others. Then remarks of the character. You can write your own remarks about the character. Then based on this one, you can think about a group discussion. What are a topic will be given? Group discussion, generating more points on the topic. Think about the topic, corruption curtails, diminishes, decreasing the development of a country. Then in the case of language practice, filling the blanks with the correct form of the verbs given in brackets. Then report to the dialogues. Reporting I have given in the previous. Then active voice and passive voice. I will give you a wonderful example of active voice and passive voice. Subject is given important in active voice, but the predicate is given importance in passive voice. A gang of thieves attacked him. A gang of thieves attacked him. A gang of thieves attacked him. So we can write, him is the predicate part. That will be highlighted in passive voice. He was attacked. Attacked the past. So was attacked. Was attacked. He was attacked by a gang of thieves. Then a gang of thieves comes here. He was attacked by a gang of thieves. Then another example. The maid servant sweeps the room every day. Maid servant sweeps the room every day. Listen here, sweeps is the simple present tense. Sweeps is the simple present tense. So, the room is swept, because it is a simple present tense. The room is swept every day by the maid servant. Somebody broke the window. Broke past. The window was broken. Somebody broke the window. The window was broken. The window was broken. So that is what. Then we will pass on to the next ingredient. The Hour of Truth by Percival Wilde is over. Next we will pass on to the next constituent. That is challenges of life. Challenges of life. Challenges of life. That we will be going for third unit. Challenges of life. Challenges of life, a three-wheeled revolution. A three-wheeled revolution. A three-wheeled revolution. A three-wheeled revolution. In an interview with Irfan Alam, the entrepreneurship. So now listen. Interview given to Sujata Ramaprasad. Actually, this is taken from an interview given to Sujata Ramaprasad for India Currents. India Current is an Indian American magazine in May 2010. Okay. This is an interview given to Sujata Ramaprasad for the Indian American magazine called India Currents on May 2010. After participating in the Entrepreneurship Summit in Washington. So, in the interview altogether there are 12 questions. Based on this one, you can just expect a question of email writing. Email writing. Email writing. Email writing. Okay. Then prepare a questionnaire. Sometimes you will be asked to prepare a question of 4 questions. A writer, for example, M.D. Vasudeva, film star, or a politician, etc., etc. Sometimes you may be asked to prepare a questionnaire of 5 questions to interview a popular personality from any walk of life, from any field. Then we are coming to know about the facts and opinions. Facts. Facts, opinions. Facts and opinions. Facts and opinions. So what is the difference between facts and opinions? For example, Facebook was launched in 2004. What is this? Is it an opinion or fact? It is a fact. So we can consider this a fact. But I will give you an example of what is an opinion. The more money someone has, the more money someone has, the more money someone has, the more successful they are. The more successful he is. So you see, we have a general opinion that people who have more money will be more successful. No, it is not that one. But commonly it may be correct. That is an example of an opinion. Then understanding idioms, familiarizing phrasal verbs. So idioms, and very clearly it is given in your textbook. I will give you some examples of phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs. Let us see, passed away. What is the meaning passed away? Passed away means breathed once last. Breathed once last. Once last. That means died. Breathed once last. Breathed is last. Passed away. Then put up with. Phrasal verb. Put up with. Put up with is actually adjust. Adjust. Put up means to adjust. That is what here we come to know. Put up means to adjust with. Then another expected question is, based on our experience, how can entrepreneurship reduce the unemployment condition? That is. So there are so many people waiting for a government jobs after their education. But in that case, there comes a lot of space or room for unemployment. That is one of the important issues faced by different nations. So in this sense, how can entrepreneurship reduce the unemployment condition of a nation? That means people like Irfan Malam or people like Shaheen Mistry or Yusuf Ali. So should start different business on entrepreneur. The employment opportunities of a nation. So the second segment is Didi by Shaheen Mistry. Another element of the same unit. Didi by Shaheen Mistry. Didi by Shaheen Mistry. Actually, it is a personal story, Didi. An edited version of the first chapter of Redrawing India, the Teach for India story, written by Shaheen Mistry and Kovid Gupta. The story tells us about the foundation of Akanksha institution to educate all the underprivileged children. To educate all the underprivileged children. So what are the expected questions based on this one? Job application with the resume. Job application with the biodata, resume. Biodata. Your personal biodata or resume, job application. Okay. Then job interview is there. After sending application and the authority will be just perusing your job application and resume or biodata, and you will be called for an interview. You will be called for an interview. So, job application and resume and job interview. For example, the first question, interviewer asks, why do you prefer to teach? Then interviewer and interviewee. Interviewer and interviewee. A person who is being interviewed by the interviewer is called interviewee. So he can write, I prefer to teach because teaching is my passion. The blood of teaching passes through my veins of the body. Like that you can just give answers. Then modal auxiliary verbs will be familiarized there. Modal auxiliaries or helping verbs. Can, could, is, am, are, was, were, may, might, will, shall. So all these are modal auxiliaries. All these are modal auxiliaries which can be expected in your question paper by filling it with the modal auxiliaries. Then another expected question, develop a conversation between Shaheen Mistry and her mother, because Shaheen Mistry expressed her desire to stay in India. But mother says that no, you must come back with us and continue your studies abroad. But in that context, develop a conversation between Shaheen Mistri and her mother. Then another, let us edit in the area of edit passage will be given, especially focusing on the errors of tenses, prepositions, and modal auxiliaries can, could, is, am, are, was, were, may, might, will, shall. So in the case of a modal auxiliaries also you will be given passages for editing, and that is what about this one. We will pass on to the next constituent of this another unit, that is what. The next unit, that is what we are next passing on to. So remember, this is a very important thing, Didi by Shaheen Mistri. And another is a poem by the poet Sachidanandan Stammer. 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 Stammer is actually poet Sachidanand. So go through the text. The poet considers stammer as a sacrifice to God for meanings, God of meanings. Sending is as a sacrifice to God of meaning. Unknowingly, we mistake. And stammer is an impediment of usual speech. Unknowingly, we make a sacrifice to a language by giving a different utterance of it. The poet says that God must have stammered at the time of creation. He justifies this argument saying that all the words of man are having different meanings. So based on the poem, you can just prepare a blog with the help of your teacher. Blogging. Blogging is another area. Blogging. A blog is a space with the help of which you can publish your thoughts and ideas on the web. An interactive space where you can comment on someone else's post. Blogs are like commentaries or personal diaries. Then creation of a class blog and upload your ideas or views about this poem. Now we will pass on to another unit, that is the fourth unit, live and let to live. Live and let to live. Fourth unit, live and let to live. Live and let to live. Let us see what is live and let to live. You see, we are living in the world and we should make the world worthy of living for others. First one is when a sapling is planted by Wankari Mathai. It is also non-focus area thing. Is the noble acceptance speech. When a sapling is planted, is actually a noble acceptance speech. Acceptance speech. Noble acceptance speech. Is the noble acceptance speech of Wankari Mathai, the Kenyan environmentalist who began the Green Belt movement. That is all. Green Belt movement. Green Belt movement. Green Belt movement for trees. Afforestation, making forest. So when to reforest or afforest her country by paying poor women a few shillings, a little money, to plant saplings, to grow trees. The first African woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize. That is all. Here we can expect a formal speech. So when you are asked to prepare a formal speech or compose or write, first you must express gratitude for the award. Explanation of your activities. Then only that is why you were given award. So then explain about your activities. More scope or room should be given for that one. Then your response to the award. Sometimes you may be dedicated this award to the co-workers who or colleagues who cooperated with you. Then advice to the younger generation. Then exhortation to the audience. Now let us see here certain thing about adverb, phrase and adverb clause. In this area you will come across what is adverb. What is an adverb? A verb attributor giving qualities to a verb. For example, from this speech, activities that devastate the environment and society is continued unabated. 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 Continued unabated. Continued is the verb. Unabated is a adverb. Okay. Then adverb phrase. I was partially responding to the needs identified by rural women. It is also from the speech of that when a sapling is planted. I was partially responding. Partially responding. Partially responding. So partially responding is was this auxiliary verb, modal auxiliary. Okay, was partially responding is adverb phrase. Adverb phrase. Adverb phrase. Adverb phrase. So adverb, unabated adverb, partially responding adverb phrase. Then another sentence we are going for adverb clause. Adverb clause. Adverb clause. Let us see adverb clause. As I was growing up, it's also taken from the speech. As I was growing up, I witnessed forests being cleared and replaced by commercial plantations. As I was growing up, as I was growing up, as I was growing up, as I was growing up. This is adverb clause. As I was growing up, I witnessed forests being cleared and replaced by commercial plantations. The same attitude we will find in the poem Rise by German and Jacob. Then another is a very grammar item, how to convert simple sentences into complex sentences. How to convert the simple sentences into complex sentences. Convert the simple sentences into complex sentences. Simple sentences into complex sentences. Into complex sentences. I will give you an example of a sentence. I don't know the time of his arrival. I don't know the time of his arrival. The time of his arrival. I don't know the time of his arrival. This is a simple sentence. So when it is converted into a complex sentence, we will be using a verbal form, arrival. I don't know when he arrives. I don't know when he arrives. When he arrives. His arrival when he arrives. That is converting the simple sentence into complex. I don't. You see, this is a simple sentence. Then, do you know where he resides in? Do you know where he resides in? Where he resides in. Resides in. Where he resides in. So where he resides in. Okay, that is all. Now we will pass on to another constituent. So when a sapling is planted, now we are going for the poem Rise by Chemanam Chakku. The poem Rise by Chemanam Chakku. The poem Rise, Chemanam Chakku. The poem Rise by Chemanam Chakku. Chemanam Chakku. So this poem was originally written in Malayalam language and was translated to English by Professor K. Ayyappa Panikkar. Rise is a satirical poem recounting the charges, recounting the changes in the attitude of farmers in Kerala, who shifted slowly, gradually from food crops to cash crops. Food crops to cash crops. It is a prose poem, simplest style. So you can expect it is a focus area poem. Prepare a critical appreciation of the poem. Then write on the decline of food crops and farmers were forced to switch to cash crops. So prepare a write-up on this question. Then a paragraph writing, market ruling us, making decisions for us instead of a system of values. Okay, so these are the expected questions. Then we will pass on to the next segment. Rise, the poem is over. Then the next segment is dangers of a drug abuse. Dangers of a drug abuse. Dangers of a drug abuse by Dr. Hardin B. Jones. Dr. Hardin B. Jones. Hardin B. Jones. Dr. Hardin B. Jones, you see here, drug abuse can cause psychological and physical dependency on the drugs, which can lead to dilated pupils or dilated pupils, increased pulse rate, elevated blood pressure, insomnia, loss of appetite, paranoia, and seizures. It can also cause death by disrupting the brain's control of the heart and respiration. Okay, so we can expect a paragraph writing. This is not a focus area, but you can expect some questions. Then a group discussion also is there. Letter of inquiry to different agencies or organizations or officers, inquiring about their services and seeking permission to use their services. Then formal letter giving advice to people to abstain from their bad habit. Then prepare a seminar paper. Very important one. Seminar, preparation of seminar paper. Seminar paper. Preparation of a seminar paper. Title should be brief, catchy, issue focused. Then abstract, brief gist or summary of the paper presented, the problem, then studied, the method used for the study, the main findings. Then text, introduction, content, that means content, description of the topic, causes, effects, conclusion, relevance of the topic, information collected from various sources such as books, journals, lecture notes, internet, direct study, etc. Then suggestions and solutions. And what are the reference areas there? What are the references? Now we will pass on to another things. So another is actually a unit that is the lighter side, having 3 segments. That is crime and punishment. This is going to have to just a little bit a poem by Ogden Nash, and to also posteriorly for Christmas. Okay, so those are just to read and try to accumulate to the points. So wish you all the best. Thank you very much.